Hi, John McElroy here, talking all things automotive. Say, is it a smart idea to invest in automotive stocks? Well, over the last couple of decades, the answer was no, unless you bought Tesla or got into some of the startups like Rivian, Lucid, or Fisker, until their prices came crashing down. But as far as investing in legacy automakers go, well, unless they had a good dividend yield, it was best to avoid them. Having said that, recently, some of the legacies have looked pretty good. As long as you pick the right companies, you could easily outperform the overall market. And so let's take a look at the returns of the top automakers in the world over the last year. And guess what? Toyota was by far the best company to invest in. Its stock is up 70%, which is an astonishing number. And that's just over the last year. Over the last decade, Toyota is up 226%, which definitely fits the definition of a growth stock. It's trading at $23 a share, so it's pretty affordable too. Toyota also pays a modest dividend, which currently yields about a 1.8% return. So if you put your money in Toyota, you did really well. By the way, I'm quoting stock prices from the home exchange of these companies. So for Toyota, for example, the prices come from the Nikkei stock exchange and not from what they call ADRs or American Depository Receipts. ADRs are a way for U.S. investors to buy stocks in dollars in foreign companies that are traded on foreign exchanges. But it's not the same thing as buying shares in a company. Okay, next up is Stellantis, which does trade on the New York Stock Exchange, and it was the next best car company to invest in over the last year. Its shares, which are trading around $26 or so, are up 38%. Better still, it pays a dividend of $1.65 a share, which yields a very attractive 6.3%. Remember, Stellantis shares only started trading in January of 2021, which is when the company became a legal entity. But since then, they're up 43%. And I think that's a return anybody would be satisfied with. The third best automotive stock over the last year was Honda. It's trading at about $11 a share on the Nikkei, and it's up 31% from a year ago. And Honda is paying a dividend that's yielding a very nice 6.5%. Over the last 10 years, the stock price is up a nice 31%, but as you can see, most of those gains came in just the last year. And I think most people are going to be very surprised to hear which was the fourth best performing stock. General Motors. It's up 21% from a year ago, and it pays a dividend of about 1.1%. But over the last decade, not counting dividends, GM has only gone up 6.3%, which means it has not even kept up with the rate of inflation. After the four top companies, we see a big drop in stock yields. Mercedes is up 7% over the last year. BMW is up less than 3%. But Mercedes pays a dividend that's yielding almost 7.3%, and BMW's is at 7.6%. So I think that kind of almost puts them in blue chip status. And now we hit a bunch of companies that are flat or down sharply. Nissan, Hyundai, and BYD have gone nowhere in the last year. Their stock prices are virtually unchanged. Though over the last decade, BYD is up 443%. Ford is down 4.4%, though it does pay a 5% dividend, and the Volkswagen Group is down 5%, though with a 7% dividend. And the worst performing automotive stock over the last year, as you probably know, is Tesla. It's down 16% over the last 12 months, though over the last decade, it's up an astonishing 1,405%. So for those early investors, even those who got in around the year 2020, the returns have been astronomical. And hopefully Tesla will return to its prior growth rate, though that remains to be seen. Now, just because I'm reporting on how these stocks have done, that doesn't mean these companies will provide the same returns this year. I'm not making any recommendations here. And full disclosure, I do not own any automotive stocks. I don't want to have anyone accuse me of reporting favorably on a company because I'm trying to boost the stock price of a company that I invested in. But this comparison shows that if you pick the right companies, you can make some very good returns investing in automotive companies.